Hey, what's up, guys? It's Drew here, a quick video blog. I want to talk about the coronavirus today, and I want to talk about how it's impacting society and how it's impacting our institutions and why people should not necessarily be freaking out about this thing. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about this. First of all, what I want to say is this. The media is definitely at fault for pushing this thing into high gear the way that they have. Now, some people may say that it's the media's responsibility to warn us of things, but very clearly and very obviously, the media is weaponizing this thing, and they're obviously incorporating it into their consistent agenda against President Trump. Okay, so that sucks. I'm not saying that Trump's handling of the coronavirus couldn't be better. It could be better, obviously, but my point is this. If you look back in history, they had the swine flu, they had H1N1, they had the Zika virus, they had West Nile, they had SARS, Ebola, all these things that have come. And obviously anybody who wasn't born yesterday and who has seen those things have known that they have come and gone. So here's what I'm trying to say about this. What I'm trying to say about this is that as an individual, if you watch my channel, then you know that I advocate for, being intelligent about things and thinking about things yourself, thinking about things yourself, not allowing the media to think for you, not allowing the newspapers to think for you, not allowing other people to think for you, but thinking for yourself, okay? Now, if this is truly a virus that spreads very rapidly and is airborne, there's really not much you can do. I mean, you can wash your hands like you always do. You can keep yourself clean like you always do, okay? But just to kind of relay information down from my father's doctor, and just to relay information down from him, what he told me was that if you do contract an airborne virus that is similar to the flu, like coronavirus is, it's similar, but it's different in many ways. If you contract that kind of a thing, the only way to beat it is, number one, to take care of the symptoms and resist the symptoms so that you're not completely and totally bedridden by it. So you have to resist the symptoms, and then your body builds up an immunity to it and fights it. That's really it. That's the only way that you can fight a virus, because you can't use antibiotics on a virus. Antibiotics only work on bacteria, okay? So that being said, this is really the only way to fight it. Now, if the thing is so easily spread and it goes so many places that there's nothing you can do about it, even washing your hands doesn't help, then there's really not much you can do anyway. It's just like the spread of think about the spread of the common cold. Think about the spread of the flu. If it's really spreading that far, there's not much you can do anyway. So I have to say that based on the amount of people that have been infected so far, and based on the things that have happened, just from my point of view, it doesn't necessarily warrant a shutdown of all supply chains. It doesn't necessarily warrant a closure of schools. It doesn't necessarily warrant all these things. I think that these things are primarily politically driven. And I think that they're being politically driven because Trump has done so well with the economy, and, they need something to drive a move towards the Democratic candidate. The problem is that that's probably still not going to work, okay? There's many reasons for that, okay? First and foremost being that the Democrats have once again bum-rushed Bernie Sanders, out of any potential for winning. He's done. He's finished. And I could have told you that in another video that he wasn't going to make it, because he doesn't have the backing of the of the DNC. They rushed him out before. They're rushing him out again. They don't want him in office, period. That's number one. Number two, Joe Biden himself is just not electable. And the reason why is because he has dementia. I think prior, like in 2012, he was a little bit more sharp, but there's only so many excuses that you can make. And I think that this will become a lot more apparent when Joe Biden is forced to debate President Trump. It'll be very clear that he's not present mentally. you know? And it's funny because a lot of people say that Donald Trump has signs of dementia and whatnot. So they reach just to say that. But if you look at Biden, you don't have to do any reaching to come to that conclusion. He very clearly has dementia. He confuses his sister with his wife. Like just the way that he talks and the way that he speaks, he clearly has mental, he's not as sharp as he used to be. And I guess none of us are going to be as sharp as we used to be when we touch in, 70, 80 years old. But in his case, it's very clear. Like sometimes he doesn't even realize where he is half the time. It's at the debates, the Democratic debates, he very clearly could not realize where he was. So I just don't think that Biden or Sanders or the Democrats have a shot in hell, and they know that. The Russia accusation didn't work, the first time, and it's probably not going to work this time. And instead of them looking for an excuse, they're looking for an event. They're looking for something that could drive fear into people to doubt President Trump, to doubt his results with the economy, to doubt his handling of things. They're looking desperately to damage him before the elections. Here's what I think. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. In fact, I say with 90% certainty that it's not going to work. There's a 10% chance that it might. I mean, it's hurting him in the polls, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get people to choose the Democratic candidate. I think that this whole coronavirus thing is purely political. I think it's also being driven by the media. There's other interests as well, obviously, but I would say about 80% of this thing is political. 80% of it is political. And there's people that are willing participants in supply chains and businesses, in different, there's willing participants. And this has really spread. It's spread so much so to the point that it's not necessarily hurting my business because in my business, my clients sell products to consumer online. So, my clients do a lot of drop shipping and they do a lot of, mail delivery of their products. So if anything, my business has picked up since this whole thing, but what has happened is that now events are being canceled. So events where people have the opportunity to network with each other have been canceled. I had at least 2 events that were canceled. I was supposed to go to Panama. That was canceled. I was supposed to go to Louisiana. That was also canceled. And there's another event I'm supposed to go to in California. That's canceled. So it is affecting people because of the hysteria and because of what people are thinking in their heads. But the actual virus itself is not really much of a threat. I think most of us are not even going to contract it. And I think most of us, if we do contract it, we're going to survive it. So it's not really much of a threat. And it certainly doesn't warrant the response that it's gotten. Okay, so we've already tackled why it's happening. We know why it's happening. We can theorize on why it's happening. We can never say that we know without a shadow of a doubt, but we can theorize on why this is happening and why it makes sense that this is happening. I predict that after the elections, this thing is going to go away because it's purely a political tool. Now, I could be wrong. You can come back to this video a couple months after the elections and say, you were wrong. It's still here. It's very much so a threat, and it's a problem. But I'm predicting that after the elections, it's like every election year, there's a big threat that's going to wipe us out. There's an extinction level event that you need to vote for a different person for. And it's just as a person who is, I would say I'm a skeptic by nature. I don't necessarily just trust everything that I see, but in my spirit, in my discernment, I just don't follow this at all. Like I vehemently reject the media version of reality. The media's version of reality is just so twisted and it's so backwards. It involves no logical thinking. It involves perversion. It involves I feel bad for people who really wake up to this and follow this as their leadership through life. They look to the media for direction. They look to their political leaders for direction, you know? And it's just like, I feel bad for adults that do this, because if you're doing this in 2020, you're so far behind the curve. Like, you're going to have if you look to the media and you look to political leaders to change your life, I just don't, you just can't, you can't. At this point, I have to say one of the most valuable skills I picked up was being able to be self-taught in many areas and seeking information for myself. Information that will help me not only survive, but thrive, and help me take care of my loved ones, because it has just allowed me from that perspective to establish a certain mode of critical thinking where if I can't grasp a certain topic, I don't necessarily just trust the first person that comes into my vicinity. Of course, we rely on experts in our society because we can't have a grasp on everything. Some of us are busy chasing one thing, and others of us are busy chasing another thing. But for us to for people in society today, to sit back and trust politicians that lie to us every day, and to sit back and trust the media that lies to us every day, is so pathetic. Like, I see people who online on social media, I see people who have become experts all of a sudden in coronavirus. People have become experts. People have become, they're so knowledgeable about this COVID-19 and coronavirus thing. It's ridiculous. Come on, dude. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's everybody's like, well, not everybody, but there's so many people out there that are just so abnormally fearful and abnormally hysterical over something that's going to disappear after the elections. And and this won't be the last time that this happens either. It's going to happen again because people in our society are so susceptible to the media. It's not just to fear, it's the media. Turn that shit off. Turn that crap off. The things that they're saying on there are lies. Some of it, it sucks because some of it is actually truthful. Like, some of it is truthful, but a lot of it is just hysteria and lies to get you riled up, to get you, scared and fearful, to change your opinions about who you should vote for. It's just like, man, it's amazing what the deep state and what people will do just to escape conviction and just to escape potential, just to escape loss, just to escape political losses. This is what this is. It's political. I believe it's political. I think there's an element of realness to it. Like, there may be actually a real virus going around, but I think that it was released and it was circulated and is perpetuated and promoted for political reasons. It's always a mixture of both. It's like, it's real. How much of it is real and how much of it is fake? Well, I think both things are real. I think there is a real virus going around, but I don't think it's as powerful as they make it seem, because the people who did release it, this man-made virus, the people who did release it, they don't want to get infected too. So they're kind of limited by the fact that they could end up committing their own death by releasing something that they can't withstand. So it's just crazy, guys. Just keep a sharp head on and just focus on facts and turn off the TV. That's all I got to say. Peace.